Anyway, mistakes or not, George the Third was king, and now what? Well, he had to be a good king, so he set about following the rules. As king, his mother told him should not be fat, so he tried not to eat much. Fresh fruit and sauerkraut were his favorite foods. Sometimes his guests thought he didn't want them to be fat either. Once a friend reported that after a whole day of hunting with the king, of galloping and leaping and being popped into ditches and jerked over gates, what do you think the king of offered him? A little barley water. Next, a king must be moral. So at once King George issued a royal proclamation against the use of bad language. Furthermore, a king should not break promises. Once King George was thrown from a horse and was so black and blue that his doctors wanted to keep him in bed, but he had promised to go to the theater that night. So up he got and off he went. A promise was a promise, he said. And of course, a king should have heirs. This took a little longer, but over the years, King George and Queen Charlotte had 15 children: George, Frederick, William, Charlotte, Edward, Augusta, Elizabeth, Ernest, Augustus, Adolphus, Mary, Sophia, Octavius, Alfred, and Amelia. Once a week, the family walked in pairs around the garden so the public would view them. Princess Augusta hated this. Another rule was that a king should be orderly. This was not hard for George. He loved order, everything in its proper place, everyone at his own work. He liked to walk around the countryside and see that even the land was doing its job. He didn't like mountains, useless things, he called them. And he was exact. If he said dinner was at 8, he meant exactly at 8. When he measured the height of the princes, he measured it to a 16th of an inch. When he dated a letter, he included not only the day and the year, but the hour and the minute that he started writing. In addition, a king should be careful of money. So instead of having satin or velvet curtains around his bed, King George made do with plain white cotton ones. He refused to have a rug on his bedroom floor. It would be unmanly, he said, and except on public occasions he dressed plainly. He personally inspected the kitchen to make sure that there was no waste, and in order to cut down on the number of servants he had, the queen's hairdresser served meals.